Hey, what's going on? My name is Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to talk about something that I call the Grandstander Friend. You know, that person who's always mad about something that you're not as mad about, who's more passionate than you about a little thing that you talk about, a little annoyance. They're like, where they at? Where they at? I'm going to get them. You, what? They made you cry? Don't worry about it. I got it. We're going to talk about that person. How they're not really a good friend. You don't believe me? Let me tell you why. Are you ready? Let's go. So just imagine you're having a pretty lousy day. I mean, work is annoying, your coworkers, the job itself, you didn't get the reports in on time, or maybe you had to do some really heavy lifting and it was just exhausting. Your boss is ridiculous too. They get on your nerves every single day with their micromanaging and their weird small talk. And one day you just feel like you've had enough. Just like, oh my God, I usually don't talk about this stuff, but I need to tell somebody. I need to get it out. So you talk to your friend. You're like, look, I had a really bad day, and complaint, frustration is building up, it's mounting, and you just want somebody to listen to you. It's not like you're going to do anything about it. You don't really normally talk about this, but today has just been the day. Right? And as you share your story and your frustrations with your friend, you can see that they're getting more agitated. And finally, they just pipe up and saying, you know what? You know what we should do? We should tell your boss a little something. Your coworkers, they're awful. I can't believe they did this to you. They never respect you. They don't appreciate you. They don't even know you like I do. Can you believe that? And and you're just like, I'm not done being upset, but I'm upset. Now you upset your grandstander friend. They're upset on your behalf. And they're going off. And it's like, what? Well, I just care about you so much. They don't even know you like I do. And like, what? What? Where's this coming from? Why do I, what do you, no. If you're in that situation with that, you're kind of stuck, and you might be thinking, because usually, we've been taught that you really need to believe that your friends are there to support you. And this ultimate grandstanding kind of gesture where they're like, I am taking on all the anger for you. I am so upset that you are so upset, and I'm such a good friend because I'm so upset because you've been hurt. I would never let anybody treat you that way. Where are they? Let me at them. And they turn into this big, massive kind of ball of anger. That person is not a really great friend. They're not a really great friend. We've been taught perhaps that because they're angry on our behalf, look at how mad they are because I was hurt. They must care so much. They must care so much about me and my well-being. Well, no. No, they don't. They don't really. And if you're thinking that because they put on this big show for you, it means that they care a lot, I want you to consider that when you initially started to have this conversation with him, maybe you didn't have the intention truly mapped out as to what I'm going to say now, but there was some desire for you to have your feelings heard. You were overwhelmed, stressed, frustrated, a terrible day at work, around a bunch of terrible people who frustrated the hell out of you, and now you get to share this frustration with someone who completely dismisses it, and now you have to deal with their frustration. So there you go. Welcome. There you are. If you're confused about how you might feel about this, or about how your friendship works. It's like, oh, they're a good friend because they were mad because I was hurt. Well, they would be an even better friend if they heard your feelings, because that's what you wanted in the first place. I don't believe that the character in this little story that I said, or you wanted them to bust out and get angry and go have to, calm them down. You've got your own intense feelings to manage. So you never get to really manage your own feelings or even be heard or have space held for you when you are around people who are grandstanding. You don't get to be around people who are going to support you and appreciate you and help you. They don't need to do anything really but listen to you. But say, oh, they're there. Maybe every once in a while I'll be like, you want me to go punch them? And you'd be like, nah, I don't want that. Really. They don't need to do any of that. Really, they really need to listen to you. Listen so that you'll feel supported and appreciated and accepted, and release that tension and that stress that is being held because of the work. And now it's even exacerbated because of the friend, because of that grandstander friend. So if you're in a kind of relationship or friendship like this, if you're around people like this, it's going to unconsciously show. Like, you're going to stop wanting to talk to them about things that are important and interesting to you, or important and painful to you, or you feel some kind of way about, because they're just going to make it worse. Just going to make it worse. They're not going to support you when you need it. And you might be tempted to just stop talking to them, stop ghosting them. They deserve it. If you can get the words to say, rather, let me say something that's a little better and more connecting here. But that's why people ghost, really. That's why people ghost. If you want those grandstanding friends, you have to be able to manage your own emotions and then hold space for your friends who are coming to you with an actual problem. And the way to support them is not to go punch somebody or yell and scream on their behalf or do some theatrics for them. It really is to hold on to your own feelings and listen to your friend. Listen to your friends so you can create that space where they feel safe enough to tell you, enough to vent to you, because that's all you need to do. That's all you really need to do if you're that grandstanding, theatrical kind of, I'm going to hurt somebody because you were hurt kind of friend. Stop. Don't do that. It's not connecting. First, you want to listen to them. And those of you who have been in the face of a grandstanding friend and uncomfortable with sharing your feelings, the best thing that you can do is take care of your own space and your own feelings. That's usually why people ghost, right? It's like, I'm not talking to you. Every time I try to talk to you, you get upset, and I can't handle your emotions too. I got my own stuff to deal with. So ghost if you need to, if you can't find the words. But if you can, you want to tell them exactly what's going on. You want to tell them how you feel about every time you come to them with something, how you need support, and what support looks like. What support looks like is you listening to me. And if they can't do that for you, then you get a really good idea of where this person belongs in your life. The correct answer, or the less painful answer, is to make space between that person and not to change them. We like to go in and try and change people. And like, you just need to listen to me. Calm down. You just need to listen to me. Every time this happens, you need to listen to me. Don't find yourself doing that, because it's just going to make it worse. Just imagine you're already frustrated from your long day at work, from all the experiences that you've had with your coworkers, your stupid ass boss, and all the extra work that you had to do on top of that. And you go to them and you try to explain to them how you need space or need to be heard, right? And they don't get it. And you find yourself in an argument with them again, not being heard, not having your feelings heard at all, because there's no one there. But now you're having more frustration on top of it, because you have to tell them that they need to do something. Again, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. And in any kind of relationship that is close and connecting, there should be some joy there. There's listening. There's understanding. There's appreciation right there. People behave in ways that help you feel more connected. And that grandstanding thing doesn't work, and that you explaining to them constantly that they need to do something different Doesn't work either. So nobody's blaming you here. At least this person who's talking is not blaming you here if you just poof and went gone. The moral of the story is that it's difficult to talk to a grandstander friend. Get some space. And if you are the grandstander friend, hey, look, listen to me. Listen to me and my voice. Calm down. The Social Connection Summit is happening September 25th and September 26th. This 2-day summit is going to change your professional relationships. You don't want to miss it. Get your tickets at patternsofpossibility.com/events. I'll see you there. The number one reason people come to seek my help is not because they're struggling with relationships. It's something much deeper. They're really struggling to trust. They honestly believe that there's no one around that they can trust. And with good reason. They've been burned so many times. They've opened up to the wrong person. You see, close relationships require that you put your trust in someone. And trust requires vulnerability. And vulnerability is scary because, of course, you could get hurt. I get it. And I found that there's an art and a science to discovering who to trust. So to help you be vulnerable with less risk, I've developed a 3-step action plan to discover who deserves your trust. It's called strategic vulnerability. Strategic vulnerability has personally kept dozens of untrustworthy people at a safe distance from me, and I'm sure it will work for you too. If you'd like to learn more about how to apply this 3-step action plan to your life, let's have a friendly conversation. Go to patternsofpossibility.com to book your conversation today. Now it's time for your listener letters. If you'd like me to give you actionable steps to create more meaningful relationships with something that's happening with you in your life, you can write me at patternsofpossibility@gmail.com and I might read it here on the show. Our decade-long friendship ended, but she's handling things differently than I expected. How do I deal with this? I'm going through something that's been weighing on me, and I wanted to see if anyone had a similar experience. I recently ended a 10-plus year friendship with someone who once was my best friend, and I'm struggling to make sense of it. We were incredibly close, almost like yin and yang, and shared a lot of deep moments. However, over the years, I started feeling like my friend was mirroring my life too much, whether it was life choices, personal preferences, or even relationships. At first, I didn't mind. Eventually, it became suffocating, though. I tried to have a conversation about it a few years ago because I was worried it was affecting our dynamic. In the beginning, the conversation seemed to help, but eventually, things went back to being the same. Recently, we had a disagreement, which led her to suggest that our friendship wasn't good for either of us anymore. This was surprising, especially since only a week before the breakup, she told me she couldn't imagine life without me. Now we've gone our separate ways. But I can't shake the feeling that she's portraying herself as the victim to our mutual friends while subtly painting me as the bad guy. We have mutual friends, but many of them were originally my friends. And while I've always made efforts to invest in these friendships, she didn't do the same privately. Now it seems like she's sharing her side of the story in a way that makes her seem like she's the one who was wronged. I've always tried to be mature by reflecting on my own actions and communicating openly. I even made efforts to talk to her about my concerns in the past, but she never expressed what she found difficult about me through our 14-year friendship. I'm more direct and tend to express myself clearly, which she found hard to deal with. I understand that this could have been challenging for her, and perhaps that's why she abruptly ended things instead of talking it through. Still, it feels unfair that she never voiced her struggles, and it hurts to see her handle things in a way that I feel disrespected. Now, I'm going to move forward. I'd like to remove old photos of us from social media, but I'm hesitant because I don't want to seem like I'm starting a war, quote, starting a war. Especially since she seems to be framing me negatively. At the same time, I've noticed she's unfollowed one of my accounts but still follows my personal one, which feels confusing. What do I do in this situation? Does it seem like a codependent friendship? Well, I as far as being codependent, I'm thinking that, your feelings, when you're in a codependent relationship or friendship, your feelings are the other person's feelings, or you believe that you have control of the other person's feelings and you believe that they control your feelings. Essentially, that's that codependence where you're always thinking about what they do and how they feel above your feelings, and you believe that they need to do the same for you. They need to tune into you and handle your feelings. And I don't think this is quite codependent. I do think that it seems like you're really upset and frustrated, as you had said here. You didn't use those words, that you were upset and frustrated, but it looks like it. You feel like you're being disrespected. You feel that disrespect coming from her. So the biggest thing that caught my attention was the social media and how you, quote, don't want to start a war. You don't want to start a war with her on social media. You notice that she's removed old photos of you, and you'd like to remove old photos of her, and you don't want to start a social media war. It seems like you're really, really concerned with the image that you have among your friends, your friend group. And that is definitely important, right? That's important. But the dynamic is between you and this ex-friend of yours, this person that you've known for 14 years. The relationship has changed, and I wanted to focus on more of you and less of what they're doing. And just for me, I've just discovered that really focusing on what I can do and what I can control stops me from being resentful, stops me from being angry about what other people are doing, because I can only control myself. And thinking about you and how you described your friend group, it sounds like you have put in the work, and these people know you personally. They know you on a different level that this ex-friend does. And that's important to note, because if they know you, then when she goes to them and says, whisper, 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 this guy, this girl, whoever you are, did me wrong, they totally ruin the relationship. Your friends who you've built this close connection, this close relationship with, are going to look at her sideways. They're going to look at her sideways like, what are you talking about? That's not the person I know. They're going to think a little bit more about what you do versus what she says, because you've built a relationship with them. And so that's why I'm saying not to worry, not to focus on what she's saying and what she's doing, because those people in your friend circle that go around believing her, really focusing like, oh, I can't believe you did this, or what about that, or such and such and such and such, because it sounds like it's an amicable breakup. It doesn't sound like anything terrible has happened between you two. Just you've reached your limits, you've changed a little too much, and you separated. And even with that, it seems like you didn't like them, or you started not to like them. You're saying that over the years, you felt like they were mirroring you a little too much, and you were uncomfortable with that. And you talked to them about it, and they still do it. And they still do it. And I imagine today they still do this mirroring thing that is annoying to you. And also, they're not forthcoming with their feelings. And you're a person who wants to be direct. You want to talk about how you feel, and they're just not interested, or they're not capable of doing that. And I imagine that could also be off-putting for you too. So when you look at the value of this relationship, you look at, what am I really getting out of it? Is this really a good friend to me? Is this someone that I want to continue going on with? Because look at her behavior, right? She's not the person who is, that seems to have her own sense of self, that can, because she's mirroring you a lot. It seems that she doesn't want to share her feelings with you either, and she'd rather talk to somebody else than to talk to you about your feelings, about her feelings. Those are all things that, in my hierarchy of connections, from strangers to associates to acquaintances to friends and close connections, to be a friend, you really need to be able to talk to me. In my own definition. And a close connection, we need even more depth. We need more depth to our relationship. But if they can't talk to you, and they'd rather talk about you, that is a red flag for me. That's a red flag for me, because there's something going on with either them or the dynamic with you. I mean, you say that you can do some reflection, so maybe there is something with you being direct in your style of communication that's off-putting and really doesn't allow her to speak her mind to you. That could be something that happened, but whatever the case is, you are not getting your needs met and you don't know how to fix it. You don't know how to fix it because your friend is not telling you. They're not talking to you about it. And I'd like you to consider something else, just because I like to look at both sides of the thing just for clarity. As I'm not in the middle of this, I just like to look at both sides, and since I'm on the outside, I can kind of see her side and I can also kind of see your side. And it's a really good exercise if you're trying to figure out what you could do for your future relationships, or even maybe handle something with this one. But the consideration that you may have done something, you may have said something, you may behave in a way that doesn't allow her to want to talk to you, that could be something that you do. And it wouldn't be something that she shares with you because she can't talk to you. She just can't talk to you. You maybe shut her down. You maybe talk over her. You maybe tell her that she's wrong because, there's two sides to the story, and there's her feelings, which are completely valid, and there's also your feelings, which are completely valid. It's being able to, if you want to do some real work to repair any kind of relationship, you really have to put your feelings aside and be curious about what the other person is doing and saying. And really, I mean really put your feelings aside, because you could be triggered or you could react to something that they do and you're like, oh, that's not me, that's not what I meant, that's not how I said it. You took it the wrong way. You could come out like that, and you might be doing that, and she's like, oh man, I can't tell this person anything. I'm going to talk to other friends because I didn't tell other friends before, but I'm telling them now. So there might be some value in learning more about what she's saying to you, even if it's third hand. Not saying that you need to repair the relationship or anything like that, but knowing that there's something happening on her side of the fence, because she's telling other people, but she's not telling you. And if you're really curious about what she's saying about you, you would listen to that information. If it sounded like it was something that could possibly be true, you would consider it and think about it going forward in your interactions. You would think about it. But if it sounds like it's absolute horse crap, then leave it alone. Leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Can't believe she took it this way. I can't believe they said this, or I can't believe she said that. Of course, it's going to be frustrating because they're not talking directly to you. That's just wants you to consider there might be a reason why they're not talking directly to you. It could be. And it was like this is me speaking from my own personal experience, is that I used to tell people that they could come and talk to me, and then I would shut them down as soon as they tried. Because as soon as they said something that didn't coincide with my own beliefs or how I view the world or whatnot, I was like, I'm not even hearing that. But I'm an open person. You could talk to me about anything. See, I didn't even realize I was doing that kind of contradiction until it got back to me third hand. And that's why I'm sharing this with you now. Okay? You understand more about who you are, right? You understand who you are, what you're looking for, your needs, your wants, and your desires. If you know those things and you see that they are not matching up, then okay, release that. If you hear something that sounds like it could have been something that you've done, it's worth considering. It is worth considering because maybe they weren't able to tell it to you directly. So in the regards to your friendship, this is a really great opportunity. I want to think about it as this, a really great opportunity to learn about your communication style and how you want to communicate with other people. Because for me, if I looked at this, if this was the end of my relationship, I would think, oh, well, I definitely want people who can talk directly to me. And actually, that's what I do. I want people that can talk directly to me. And if they cannot do it, then they get dismissed. They move to a different connection level, maybe an associate, maybe even a stranger if it's that egregious that they can't share their feelings with me. Because if they can't share their feelings with me, there is no way that they'll hold space for me and my feelings. And that's an absolute must in my relationships. Hey, thank you so much for listening. If you like this podcast, share with someone who you think could benefit from this information, and follow me on social media. You can find me at Patterns of Possibility on all social media, and I go live on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can catch me and learn more about these social connections and interact with other people who are looking for the meaningful connections, who share the same kind of stories, and be in community. And don't forget to sign up for my newsletter at patternsofpossibility.com, where you will get actionable steps delivered to your mailbox every week. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, take care.